Shwai, croeso, hello and welcome to episode 35 of the Bluebirds Nest. This week, donning yet another new Macron garment, the aqua blue quarter zip. As fetching as it is, this colour is currently only available to club staff. However, there are many to choose from, so please visit the club shop to take a look at all of those. I'd also like to highlight on screens our brand new partners announced in the last few days, Visit Malta, who now also feature alongside all of those other club partners, as you can see if you're watching along on the club's YouTube channel. If you are listening to this as an audio podcast, I promise you it is there amongst the other partners, but please feel free, again, visit the club website to find out more about that exciting new partnership. Introductions time then, and this week in particular, a man who needs very little introduction, shall we say. It's a penalty-saving hero from our latest fixture, Mr. Ifan Knott. Ifan, welcome to the Nest.
It's good to be here, right?
Well, I've been pestering you all summer saying it's coming, and I think this week was the ideal time to do it. I am desperate to talk about these last few days with you, but I'm going to stick with traditions here on the Nest. You're a keen all-round sportsman. You played several sports growing up. I know you were always popping up in the local newspaper and things like that, particularly for your football and your cricketing exploits. You've picked up several honours along the way, and I'm sure we'll discuss those. But we'll start with football, junior football. Take us through where it all started. Where did the journey start for you, all the way up to where you were last season with Carmarthen first team?
So I started off with Command Stars, about 5 or 6 years old, I think, and then played for a couple of years, and then I ended up getting scouted at a Tenby tournament, football tournament by Swansea. So I went for a 6-week trial there, and then went through that, and then ended up getting signed. So played with Swansea for about 4 or 5 years, and then I lost interest in football, to be honest.
Right.
So I went back playing with the boys to Command Stars. Played there for a year or two under Sean and Glenn, and then I was playing centre back most of my time there. Yeah, and then joined Command Town then for a year or two playing keeper, and then in around lockdown I started training with the first team under Christian O'Leary and Sean Cresser, and then a year or two later I was 17, picking up my first start away at Cymraeg Clydach, and yeah, that's it really.
Yeah, well, you did go on to compete for that first choice keeper shirt with several other keepers. I remember, that period of lockdown. Now you emerged and they made a couple of signings and things, but you had 24 appearances in cup and league competition. I did my research on that one. So, a really productive season you had with the first team there. How did you find the Cymru South as a league then?
Oh, when I first started it was a lot different to what I was used to. It's a physical league. It's a new experience. It's basically the opposite of playing academy football, to be honest, and junior football. You're playing with grown men, and yeah, you can tell as a step up in physicality.
Yeah, and I mentioned you're a multi-talented sportsman. Having played senior cricket, I think you made your debut with the Wanderers again at a very young age, Carmarthen Wanderers. I think I'm right, didn't it? It was about 16, but then Glamorgan came calling. Glamorgan under 18s, I know you featured, and your first international honours at cricket with the Welsh age grades that you went through. That led on to Welsh footballing honours, the Welsh schoolboys call-up, which we will discuss. That was probably where you bumped into James Devnald for the first time. Yeah. Obviously, our club goalkeeping coach is also involved with the Welsh schoolboys, but I'm aware of the travelling involved, but it was worth it, I suppose. All those, long distance to Scotland and both island nations, England and things. You won the Centenary Shield 41 years after Wales last won it. So that's some achievement, that, to be fair. Several clean sheets, I noticed. One penalty save. Again, very apt this week. But again, a huge achievement to be involved. What was that all like then? Welsh schoolboys and travel and things like that.
Oh, it was an unbelievable experience, to be honest. I remember the start. I wasn't 100% sure if I was going to do it, but my mum persuaded me to
Mhm.
go to the trials and then go through the setup. And then, yeah, we started off. I think we lost 3-0 away to Northern Ireland in the first game, but then after that, we gelled as a team. We went to Scotland, won 2-0, I think, and
Mm.
then we played England in Britain Ferry, won 3-4-1, and then we only needed a point from the last game, but we ended up winning 2-0, and that night was yeah, pretty special, to be honest.
Yeah, fantastic. Fair play. And that's coming up to more recent times then. Across the spring, you were in demand. I know of several clubs in the South Wales area that were sort of doing due diligence on you and were interested. What made you decide on joining the Pembrokeshire Bluebirds then?
Um, I always wanted to play at the highest level I could, to be honest, and knowing that I was coming down here to test to to test for the number one jersey, and obviously the club just qualified for Europe, and after speaking with Pens and Devs,
Mm.
I couldn't really turn it down, and I know we've got a great fan base as well, so it's a good culture down here, to be honest.
Yeah, obviously the opportunity to work again with Devs and obviously with Tony's own playing career, that's as a goalkeeper himself, that must have been a huge car for you to learn off both of them, I guess, then.
Yeah, I worked with Devs throughout the whole Welsh school setup, and I learnt a lot from him. It was a good laugh, to be honest. Like he's as if he's one of the boys. Um, and then I know Pens has played at such a high level, so he understands what you need to do as a keeper on and off the pitch.
Well, no doubt with Alpha West interest, coming out, you became aware of it. You were following in the playoffs and you saw Zach's exploits in both the semi-final and the final. Again, when you joined then in the build-up to Europe, how did you find, how did you two gel from the off?
Yeah, I remember watching the playoffs live on YouTube, I think it was, and both of them went to penalties, and I don't know, like being with Zach, we both want high standards, and it's the best thing you can ask for as a keeper. And especially in the last few weeks, he's been really good to me on and off the pitch. Very supportive, and that's what you need, to be honest.
Yeah, you can see that from an outsider, sort of watching you warm up and things like that. You've got each other's backs, and we'll come on to that shortly. But on field, then you didn't get to play in any of the actual competitive European fixtures, but you did, travel as that sort of backup goalkeeper. And obviously, we've got John Chester's, who's not too much younger than you as well, as sort of the third choice in the mix as well. You did have a couple of games, though. You kept a clean sheet against Carmarthen in your first appearance in a Haverford shirt. Anyway, a second half against, I still can't believe how strong that Swansea City team was when we played at their training base in Swansea. Again, only conceding once in 45 minutes against those, a couple of them worth a couple of £1 million. It's some journey in a couple of months for you, but a full 90 against Britain Ferry as well. But as you mentioned there, I could see you and Zach really gelling. You were fully committed to competing for that jersey, but also I think you were supportive and understood, well, it's his shirt at the moment. I'm going to do everything I can to support him. Is that where your mindset was at? You just wanted to do everything you can to support them?
Yeah, obviously I'm gutted I didn't play, but you've got to be supportive, and being in and around the teams probably was very beneficial to me. Like you always want the best standards, and you never know when you need it as a keeper. Like you could be injured in the first 10 minutes, and then you're called on. To be honest, like so you
Mm.
never know.
You're a young man with wise ways, I guess, and everything. Obviously, you're speaking here, and I've got to know you better now over the last few weeks and that. But you did blend into the squad really well. I think, well, to be fair, many of the signings did. We all spent so much time together, over those weeks in the build up to the European Games, and obviously, the foreign travel and things. We got a chance to not only gel as a new squad and things, but the socializing. I've got a few hazy good memories, should we say, from some of those nights. But what stands out for you, in particular, the off-field moments on those traveling adventures?
I think it was the night after the Macedonia game. To be honest, it was a surreal moment. We were
Yeah.
all kind of celebrating how well we did out there, and all of us players, coaches, everyone around the table after the game having a few drinks, and yeah, it was really good to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever celebrated a loss before, but we all knew the mammoth task in front of us.
Yeah,
We were playing a team with a couple of £1 million playing budget. I'd lost the Spurs only 2-1 a couple of seasons before. So we knew, let's just stay in the game. And a 1 goal deficit, we celebrated it. Well, I'll say into the night, but I think it was into the morning. But by the end of it, it was a late one and a few sore heads the next day. But that's definitely one that stands out for me in the off-field stuff, where I think that togetherness, you could really see it. There was players, there was staff, there was members of the board, all socializing, and I think that really supported those next few weeks. Obviously, the home leg, your face stands out to me. I got great footage. We were obviously in the technical area, weren't we? And you as a sub, as Jenks put that goal in the top corner, we just all ran down the touchline, and your face, you turned to the camera screaming down the lens. It's that'll stay with me for a long time. But up until then, was that probably the standout moment of success in your footballing career, or does the Centenary Shield match it? Where does that sit?
I think it was in the moment, to be honest. That's probably up there with the best moment I've had in football. Even though I didn't play, it was such a good occasion to be a part of. And as soon as Zach made that save, I think, seen by my reaction, I just went nuts, to be honest.
Yeah, it was phenomenal. And again, I think I've spoken about Europe every episode so far this season. It's going to be the case because it's great to hear different perspectives and things. But the point I want to pick up with you next, Ifan, is 3 days after we cruelly left our European adventure, you did make your debut, your competitive debut, I should say, against Cardiff City under-23s. That was a League Cup fixture, but last Saturday, you were given your first start in the Cymru Prem. And I genuinely don't know it. How did you learn that you were starting that day? When did Tony give you the heads up?
Well, I knew Zach was struggling with an injury for a few weeks, so I was just being patient. I knew there was going to be a chance coming, and then in a few days before the Connors Key game, Pans spoke to me and said I'll be starting on the weekend. So he gave me time to prepare mentally, and yeah.
Well, you're a confident guy, but when I spoke with you prior to the warm-up, I think without hesitation, he said, right, the butterflies are going bonkers with me. You had elements of nervousness in the build-up to that, the sort of preparation time. But I think come kick-off, you look so focused and so ready. Obviously, we came out on the wrong side of the result, but did you enjoy it? What were the sort of emotions afterwards?
Yeah, I loved it, to be honest. But before kick-off, I was very, very nervous, to be honest. But as soon as the whistle went, I was concentrating, and the time went quite quick, to be honest.
It did. Well, you kept your place in the team. No easy feat, certainly. But this past Tuesday night, then, arriving at Cardiff Met, you tickled me because I said as you walked into the changing room, "Oh, are we still on to record for the Nest this week?" And you smirked and said, "Only if I play well tonight." And obviously, here we are recording. So you did go on to have a really good game. To be fair, I think everybody had a good game on Tuesday night for the majority of it. I think debutant Aidan McNamara, who featured at both right back and left back on the night, he played really well. But I did give you man of the match on the Nest live coverage. I could hear, that it was quite a quiet, as much as there was a decent crowd at Kincoid, it was quite a quiet. So I could hear you. You organised and talked all night. I know you almost lost your voice, and we almost had to delay for that. But you caught well, you kicked well, and obviously it's going to be remembered for your penalty save in the 92nd minute that obviously ensured we took at least a point home. Frustratingly, having led until the 87th minute. But again, you made a remark afterwards, and I want to dive into this a bit more now. You said that Devs and Zach in the dugout were pointing the opposite direction for the penalty. They were advising you to dive the other way. So take us through those moments then. What were your first thoughts, and how did it all come about?
Yeah, it's kind of funny to be honest, because I was speaking to Jacob on the way up on the bus, and I said to him, "Oh, if they get a penalty, I fancy myself." And then obviously in the I think it was 91st, 92nd minute, they had a penalty. Fortunately, I guessed the right way. I went with my gut, and I thought because he was going to open his body up, I just went that way and hoped for the best, to be honest. And then I found out after the game that Devs and Zach were both pointing the other way for me to go and dive to my left, because that's obviously where Zach saved the penalty from him last year.
Yeah.
But yeah, yeah.
Fantastic. Well, social media has been full of great content. There's a couple of things I've got to mention these few days. One I really liked on Tuesday night after that Cardiff Met game was a picture of Aaron Ramsdale in the Arsenal dugout. Was obviously him and David Raya are sort of competing for the Arsenal jersey, and Ramsdale was for video, and I think it was on live coverage actually. He was clapping his colleague in the Arsenal squad. And somebody commented saying, "This is Zach when Ifan saved the penalty." I thought that tickled me. But obviously, across the weekend, Ryan Stratulis obviously scored a very good goal past you. So you got featured on the Scorio social media channels. I'm sure you noticed it, but ignored it, no doubt. But after Met, straight away, a fantastic post with the headline, "You're not getting past," which I thought was quite witty from them, to be fair. And a video, obviously, of your penalty save. It's had almost 17,000 views. Well, certainly up until the time we're recording this. Your phone must have been red hot with notifications.
Yeah. I knew a few of my mates were up there watching because they've just gone to uni, and I had a few messages off them, and then I had quite a bit on Twitter, to be honest. A lot I didn't expect, but I looked at the post straight away and I burst out laughing, to be honest.
Yeah, that's certainly one to cherish and pin to the top of your Twitter feed, I'm sure. Okay, we're coming on to one of the final segments now, and we debuted this last week, and it did start a lot of banter that was sent Ricky Watts' way, I'm sure. We're going to pick the perfect outfield player now. So we need a right foot, a left foot, technical ability, aerial ability, a talker, and the footballing brain. So 6 attributes that you can put together. I know you've played with a lot of good players at, obviously, well, schoolboys, Carmarthen and things like that, but I'm going to limit you to only pick from, obviously, your colleagues in the first team and the development squad if you wanted. But we'll kick off. Whose right foot do you pick in?
I'm going to go Jazz with the right foot. I think it speaks for himself, to be honest.
Okay. That's 2 weeks on the bounce. He's had his right foot in here now. His money ball is what he described it.
Oh, yeah.
Left foot?
I've gone for Abu with his left foot. I think he picks out some good diag passes, and he's always confident on his left foot. So
there's not many better left foots in the squad, to be fair to him. I give him that. Your technical ability player?
I've gone Willie on this one. I think in the warm-up, 2-touch, he shows what technical ability he's got, and proves it for himself, to be honest.
He'd be happy with that one, I'm sure. Aerial ability?
I've gone Jenks on this one. Speaks for himself again, to be honest. The bloke doesn't not lose headers.
Yeah, there was one in particular on Tuesday night. It seemed to travel 40 yards, I'm sure. I don't think it did that far, but yeah, I thought you would have gone Jenks there. A talker now then, who's the voice?
I've gone Dylan Reese with this. The way he's spoken around the team has been very beneficial, and he's also spoke to me after my debut and after the game last night. So it's nice to have that sort of person in the squad.
That doesn't surprise me at all. He's a real leader of people, Dylan is, to be fair. And football brain then?
I've gone Dan Hawkins on this one. I think the pockets he picks up on the field and the way he is in and around the ball is just superb, to be honest.
Very good. Again, that's a superb player there. Jazz in it again. I wonder who's going to take the right foot place off him in upcoming weeks. But no, that's an excellent player, to be fair. We'll have to try and do one with all the goalkeepers and who's that one, perhaps. It would cause too much of a debate at the moment, I think. Right, nearly at a close then. Just this weekend's fixture to remind you about. We are back at the Oggy Bridge Meadow, home to our West Coast rivals, Aberystwyth Town. Kick-off 2:30. Aber are certainly a better team than perhaps their current league position is showing, but a massive crowd at the Meadow is crucial to supporting the boys. So please make every effort to come down and attend on Saturday afternoon. Ifan, diolch am eich amser. Pob lwc am y penwythnos yma a tymor. See, I can throw in a bit of Welsh now and again. And thank you for your time. Best of luck for this weekend and the season ahead. When Scorio learn that you are Welsh language, I'm sure you'll be on the interviews because they're always sniffing around Jenks and to get him on the post-match interview. So once they realise, I'm sure there'll be plenty more interviews to come and hopefully a couple of teams in the weeks and more videos on Scorio as well, mate. But good luck. And again, thank you for your time, buddy.
Diolch, Rai.